Our society has countless images, ideas, and stereotypes about change agents, people who help an organization transform by improving business process and interpersonal interactions. Whether influencing fashion, business, art, entertainment, science, politics, or law, these change agents have and continue to positively impact today's society on so many levels. And today, we are proud to share the story of these business owners, coaches, innovators, and thought leaders from various industries who are eager to educate, inspire, and motivate you. This is Our Voices on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Our Voices, powered by Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the owner and co-founder of Dressing Mermaid, co-host of Woke and Free, and the lifestyle editor of Plus Model magazine. And this show is focused on highlighting the amazing work of powerful change agents who have a great message to share with the world. And today, I'm super excited to be speaking with Leslie Jane Seymour, who is a media entrepreneur and the founder of CoveyClub. So what is CoveyClub? Well, first of all, Covey, if you don't already know, is a small flock of birds. And the CoveyClub is a new club for lifelong learners, which was launched in February of 2018. It allows for women who are 40 plus to bond over issues of interest and concern through virtual salons, aka coffee and conversation, or topics in the CoveyClub monthly magazine, which is written and produced by the best journalists around the world. CoveyClub also offers a daily blog, weekly podcast with women reinventing themselves, the CoveyCast, and a special list for high-level one-on-one networking, which is attributed to Leslie's list. So without further ado, Leslie, how are you?
Oh, that was such a nice promo. Thank you. I sit and I listen to someone. When someone like you says all that stuff, I'm like, I better get off the phone.
Yeah, you're pretty amazing. So
That was cute.
Oh, thank you. So let's get it started. What first, I guess, happened in your life that drove you down the path of saying, I want to be an entrepreneur?
It's called losing your job. Mm-hmm. That's a good way to become an entrepreneur. What happens is I'd run many magazines. I ran YM, I ran Redbook, I ran Mary Claire, and then I ran a magazine called More for 8 years. And the publishing business is just, really swirling down the last bits of the drain. Mm-hmm. And they closed the magazine, and we had 1.5 million very angry readers. We're really pissed off.
Wow.
And so a bunch of them came to me and said, do something else. I am not an entrepreneur. I have gone in and out of the workforce. When I had kids, I would go out and be a freelancer for a year here and there, something like that, or 2 years for my son. But I just really thought, okay, I was thinking I'm kind of done. I'm in the process of getting my master's in sustainability management at Columbia. I'm going to finish in May. I'm so excited.
Nice.
I'm the slowest master's student you've ever met. It's taken 4 years. And so I thought I would do that, but this has kind of interfered. And really what it is I asked 627 of my readers who took a 54-question survey to the end what they wanted, and I made a map from what they said. And then I took my severance pay and I stuck it at that, and that's what I've been doing.
Wow.
And so this has been my project, and it's been, it was 2 years to develop, and then a year, we're a year into launch. And, a lot of people told me no one will be interested, this is a dead business, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm learning you throw spaghetti against the wall, you see what happens. Mm-hmm. And what I love is people are finding me from all over the world. People join from Paris and Brussels and Texas and Atlanta and New York and San Diego. And, I just get a big kick every time I find somebody who says that they heard about us and they love what we're doing, and we speak to them. And they join us and they put their comments in. And then some people have told us we've inspired them enough to start their own businesses.
Wonderful.
So I am thrilled because women 40 plus, no one's talking to us. And that's what's really sad. I mean, I have a podcast which is called Reinvent Yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's all about talking to women 40 plus about how they've reinvented themselves. Because the average age of an entrepreneur in the U.S. is actually 39. We think it's a 20-year-old Mark Zuckerberg in a dirty T-shirt. It's not. And women women, the statistics are out there, women and older women actually are better bets financially when they do their own thing as an entrepreneur. They return better returns on investment, and they're more likely to stay in business, and they're more likely to succeed. And so that's my whole mission. And my Uber mission, my crazy Uber mission, when you're an entrepreneur, everybody tells you have to have this thing called a BHAG. Have you heard of that? The big, hairy, audacious goal. So my big, hairy, audacious goal, and I hope everybody listening will come and join us, I want to connect 100,000 women.
Absolutely.
And I want it to be the kind of thing where you will be on the CoveyClub page. You're going to Austin for an event, but you want to meet somebody new for business or for friendship. You go on the Covey page and say, hey, I'm going to be in Austin Tuesday night. I have drinks free, anybody around, and you're going to meet a cool, interesting woman who is, like you and interested in expanding her world and learning more.
I love it. Absolutely. You should definitely connect with Maya.community. Shout out to them. They have just under 700,000 women business owners. So I think
my God.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Maya.community. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's a really great, and she is a similar mission that she wants to get every woman business owner to be on that directory, because wouldn't it be great if every woman business owner could, be in one place at one time. So, yes.
Love that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See what I'm learning? I came here to talk to you, but I'm taking everything. This is wonderful. This is what I love. Don't you love what women do for each other?
Yes.
This is what I love.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you did mention something that is very important, and I do want to circle back to that. So you said women who are 40 and above feel like they don't have a place in society because media doesn't want to give a space for us, right? Or women in that space. Right. So now what would you say, having this platform, are the biggest challenges that women in their 40s are currently dealing with?
Well, number one, it's invisibility and really bad stereotypes. Women 40 plus in the U.S. are one of the wealthiest cohorts there is. We manage $19 trillion worth of money. And because of age prejudice, no one wants to talk to us. So I said, fine, I'll talk to all of those women. Are you kidding me? You get to a point in your 40s and 50s when your kids are getting older, if you had kids, and they're, leaving home, or you can finally become more of yourself, or you can go back to being who you wanted to be, or get back on that path from when you were in your 20s and 30s. And remember, women outlive men. They're going to, we're going to outlive the dudes for another at least 10 years. Those are the numbers. And we've got a long runway, and we're in better shape. We're in better health. We look better. And who wants to, be ignored? I mean, I really, we want to give back. We want to participate. We want to help. We want to mentor. We want to make money. We want to contribute. And there is just this shutting down of, everything in the world is focused at millennials, which I love. I have 2 millennials. Myself, and only one of them is off the dole. So, it's like, you're focusing everything on my kids, but a lot of that money's coming from me. So why don't you just come to me instead? It's just age prejudice. That's it.
Gotcha. Absolutely. You are listening to Our Voices on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Natasha Nurse, and my guest today is Leslie Jane Seymour, media entrepreneur and founder of CoveyClub. So I completely agree with you. It's nonsense, and it's hurtful, and it's illogical, really, because from a business perspective, right? Yes, I'm a millennial. I totally love the conversation about millennials. Hopefully when it's in the good frame of reference. But you're absolutely right? A lot, if the money is really, if someone else is holding the bag, then that's really where conversation needs to be had as well. We can't deny where the money clearly is. So now that you have... I was just going to say...
It's an as well. It's not, it's just the silliness of shutting down a whole part of the conversation. That's all. It's just silly. It's just lemming behavior where everybody runs in one direction. And I'm here to say, if you're really smart, there's, everybody's looking for interesting investments. Everybody's looking for markets that aren't saturated. Everybody's looking for where they can get better returns. Look at women who are 40 plus. We are doing it, but we're just invisible. So
absolutely. Yes. Now, when it comes to your entrepreneurial journey, what would you say has been the greatest lessons that you've learned? I
am just amazed at how much the changes for me coming out of corporate life, this is going to sound so wonky and weird. It took me so long to figure out what was so different about it. And I'm always up for a challenge. The first 2 years when I was literally sitting at my kitchen table all by myself, having to push a rock up a hill, the most interesting thing was understanding that big corporations have their own momentum. You take a job there, and no matter what level you're at, you parachute in. It's like a flowing stream, right? The stream is always flowing. And you parachute in at whatever level you're at, and you start swimming or you put your boat out or whatever. And then when you close up on Friday night, the stream keeps going. It doesn't stop just because you went home. When you're doing your own thing, it's the weirdest thing. Like, you have this weird existential moment where you sit there in your desk and you have your coffee and you think it's a beautiful spring day, and if I just walked outside, nothing would happen. It's this bizarre thing. And then when you finally get launched, you have your own momentum. And I don't like not having momentum. I like to be part of something. I like to be in the swim. I like things that push me along. But it's hard to get that momentum going. And it was just a really interesting revelation. And then I love the fact that I can be my own boss and I don't have to ask anybody for any permission. I did my first sale on my birthday, which was January 4th. I woke up that morning and I said, I've never done a sale. I'm going to do a sale. And I went to Canva and I made my little sale post.
Nice.
And I put it out there. And by the end of the day, I had 40 new members.
Nice.
And that in corporate life, that would have been a 6-month ordeal.
Gotcha.
That would have been 6 months of negotiation. I want to do a sale. Well, so-and-so says you can't, or you did one already, or somebody else is doing a sale, so you can't do one. It's just the joy of, just movement and trying new things. And what's wonderful, someone tells me about this app, and I read about the app, and I send it out to my team, and we look at it, and we're like, maybe we should try this. So then you talk to the person tomorrow, and then you're on the app. It's just, I love the speed. I really love all the different people who've come into my life, and especially the women like you, who everybody, the first thing out of their mouth when you leave corporate life, which is just amazing, everybody says, how can I help you? No one says that to you when you're in corporate. No one. Nobody, honestly. 40 years of corporate life, no one said, how can I help you at all?
Well, you know what it is?
Yeah. What is it?
I think ultimately it's because business, a lot of people, at least for the women that I'm working with and my own approach as well, is that this is a choice. We're voluntarily going down this road. So if you don't view this as an opportunity to be in service for someone else and to really be a value add to the community that you're trying to serve, then this is similar to corporate. And if we all don't want to be in corporate, then you have to behave differently, right? So you have to change the behavior to have a changed environment. And I think that for me and at least the women that I know, that we really come from a place of service. And so yes, right, there is prices attached to this deal or this conversation, but ultimately I'm in the service of making you feel XYZ. I'm in the service of giving you these products that will do XYZ for you. So I think that's the switch, and because it's just this vehement, no, corporate America. Yeah. Ironically.
And it's, and I loved corporate America. I, got along fine there, and has its own benefits, has big paycheck benefits, and that's great. And also it has the benefit of Friday, you leave it at work, you let go and you can be free until Monday. Somebody else can take care of it. So that there are advantages. But
Absolutely.
And I'm not making money yet, so that's a problem. But
I hear you.
It has its own goods and bads. But if you've been in corporate for as many years as I have, I am just so overjoyed to find that there is another world out here. And I say to many, many women who are, feeling like they're kind of in a dead zone in their lives in these big businesses, or they've been pushed to, areas that they don't really care about or are not their expertise or whatever, and they're thinking about getting out, I say jump. I'm like, I feel like I'm a fireman standing outside of a burning building saying, just come on, jump. There's a whole world out here you don't even know about.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting, and there are women of all ages. There are men willing to help you. There's a whole world going on of fascinating, interesting things. And you're going to be able to jump in somewhere, and you've got all kinds of talents that you have been told to put aside, and out here you can employ all of them.
Yes.
And people will be grateful. You won't make a lot of money to start with, but you can be useful. You can find your way. You can find meaning. You can, I don't know, that's what I think is wonderful.
Absolutely. You are listening to Our Voices. My name is Natasha Nurse. More with my guest, Leslie Jane Seymour, media entrepreneur and founder of CoveyClub. Next on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Yoda, what should I do with this Land Cruiser I don't drive anymore?
Donate. You must.
Yoda's right. Right now you can donate your vehicle to the National Federation of the Blind by calling 866-282-7327. That's 866-282-7327. Or if you know a blind person who needs help, please email nfb@nfb.org.
A tax deduction you will receive.
And it doesn't take the force to be charitable.
Welcome back to Our Voices on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Natasha Nurse, and my guest today is Leslie Jane Seymour, media entrepreneur and founder of CoveyClub. So you were mentioning before earlier in our conversation about the power of reinventing yourself. So given that you've developed a podcast around this and you have a lot of content around it, what are the keys to reinventing yourself either in your life or in your career?
Well, the number one thing is people ask me all the time, like, I've got to reinvent, but I don't know where to start. And the starting point is usually the hard thing. We censor so much stuff out. Since we're 3 and we take a ballet class and we find out we're not going to be, the prima ballerina at the New York Ballet. We're told, just drop it because you're not going to be the top dog, right? When you get to be a little bit older, you need to be reminded of all those things that brought you joy that you censored out of your life. So the very first thing that I ask everybody to do beyond, if you're losing your job, there's a whole another stack of things where you have to get your finances together, you have to make sure your contract is all set if it's that kind of thing. But once you're out and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, I call it getting together your kitchen cabinet. And what I suggest is that everybody, if you haven't got an idea but you need to reinvent, you gather your friends, get some from grammar school, get some from junior high school, college, put them all in a room, lots of pizza, lots of rosé, get a whiteboard and some markers, and you start asking them, go around the room and ask them what they remember about you that you used to love to do. And you write down everything. You don't censor. You used to, because you forget. I used to twirl baton, Oh, wow. When I was a little kid, and I gave that up because I wasn't going to be the majorette in every parade, right? But when you're older, there might be things there that you can pick up and deploy again in your later life. So you create this long list of stuff, and then you can start looking back at all those things and really go through those items and try to get down to 3 items that, when you think about them, still bring you joy. That is much how I'm finishing up my degree up at Columbia in sustainability. And I got there because when I first went to college, I wanted to be a marine biologist. And I applied, I went to Duke in North Carolina because they have a marine biology place at Beaufort in North Carolina. But when I got there, I didn't have the science chops that these other kids did because I went to a girls' school that had a few courses but not a lot in the science and math area, and I was getting massacred. So I dropped it my junior year, and I became an English major. I went to an event where I heard someone talking about climate change about 5 or 6 years ago, and it really literally made my heart pitter-patter. I was like, oh, my God, I so care about this concept. I'm at a point in my life where I have a voice on the world. What can I do to help? And that's when I started looking around at what I could do that wouldn't require me to give up my job. I was still running Mary Claire at the time. And it wasn't until I got to Moore that I found the courses up at Columbia where you could get a degree at night. Now, not everybody has to go back to college and get a master's degree, but it's going back to those things that you may have dropped a thread. You may have wanted to do social work. You may have wanted to do something in sports. You just need to find that out, and that's really kind of the very first step. And you take those first 3 things and you say, do some research. It's amazing with the internet today what you can pull down and find. And look at where those things are today, because I'm not doing marine biology. It's part of what sustainability is. It's, sustainability has its ocean part of it. But it has developed. Sustainability is now where the environment meets business and where the win-wins are. So it's developed a long way from being a marine biologist, right? And you need to look at those 3 things, whatever they are, and explore. Go online and find out where those things are today and see if that excites you. And if it does, then it might require doing a course or 2 here or there. Many of these colleges today in towns all across America have figured out that there is a whole population out there that needs to reinvent, and they're not stupid. They can make money off it, and they have the tools. So you can either go back to your previous schools that you were at. A lot of them are doing post, courses and, sort of rethinking seminars for their alumni, or you can go to your local, even at high school. I know a woman who did a high school jewelry course that totally turned her on. She ended up running a whole jewelry business.
Nice. Oh,
so you can start in many, many, many different ways, but that getting your kitchen cabinet together is a really good starting point if you don't know what it is you want to do and that you might enjoy.
Absolutely. You are listening to Our Voices on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Natasha Nurse, and my guest today is Leslie Jane Seymour, media entrepreneur and founder of CoveyClub. I, Leslie, completely agree with you. I mean, for me, my entire professional career was all about reinvention because I wasn't in the mindset that I am now. Before, I was definitely of the crowd of like, oh, you're subject to your circumstance. And so I was of the generation where, I wanted to go, similar to you actually, wanted to go and become a veterinarian, but I wasn't necessarily academically performing to the degree that I wanted and wasn't particularly enjoying seeing animals slaughtered left and right. So had to pivot and was like, law school. And then the economy was like, you're funny. You want a job. You're so cute. And then having to jump only because I was so responsive in nature instead of determinative and really conscientious. And I agree with you. I think when I finally had the opportunity to pause and lost a job and had to figure out what was next, you really do sit back and you assess, what are you good at? What do you like to do? And then you dabble. And when it comes to the educational piece, you definitely, people can audit credit classes as well. They don't even have to sign up for a major. They can just go in. There's also so much called I've heard the YouTube University, or there's online courses and online webinars and seminars. And I'm also a strong proponent of utilizing networking as an opportunity to just have 15-minute informational calls. So as long as you're hungry for the life that you want, even if you can't pinpoint where that's going to take you and what you're going to do, just be active and show up for yourself in a way that you've never showed up before. And I think that you will, discover amazement that you thought wasn't an option and is now the bread and butter of how you make money and or just what gives you joy in your life. And so, I definitely commend anyone, because you can reinvent at any age. I know that sometimes it's a conversation of third chapter in your life, but listen, you could be in the middle of your first chapter and you're like, time for a switch.
And so many, and I counsel a lot of, young people in their 20s who get into their first job and they're like, this is not what I wanted. And they feel very trapped. Yeah. And, my point is, look at it as 2 years. These are 2-year stints today. Things are moving so rapidly. Things are changing. If you do 2 years one place, then you can go to the next thing. But you do, in that case, instead of doing a kitchen cabinet, you do your side hustle and you explore the things that you're interested in on the side. You do it on weekends, you do it in evenings, you do it in weekend courses or whatever you want to do. And you can start your business on the side if that's what you want to do and move that into, what you actually want to do after, a few years or whatever. The two can meet somewhere.
Absolutely.
But, that is a really great way of doing stuff. I mean, today, people do all kinds of, internships on weekends, and it's a much more open kind of workforce and exploration force that's out there today than, when I started, where when I started, you had to go to a corporation and work for them. Now it's more fluid, and you're right, everything is online. I mean, my God, you can get, if you have a topic you want to learn about, you can spend, 4 weeks on research and you will probably know almost everything there is that you want to know about it and who the major players are. I know one woman, which is always very inspirational. I forget what she was doing before, but she ended up, she wanted to be in tech, and she wanted to make herself known in tech, and she was not in the tech field. And she had, moved herself over there, gotten, some kind of accreditation in there, but she didn't know anybody because she was coming from another field. And she set herself these crazy arbitrary boundaries where she said, okay, for this year, I'm going to go to 10 conferences in this area I'm interested in, and I'm going to follow 100 people in this, this new area I'm interested in, and I'm going to befriend them and talk to them, and that's how I'm going to get my way in. And she did it with social media and with conferences, and she started tweeting at people who were leads in her field, and they started tweeting back after a while.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely, the nature of how everything works. But unfortunately, we're going to have to start to wrap things up, so I want to make sure that everyone knows, if you could have a little air bite, why do people want to join? Why do women want to join CoveyClub, and where do they go?
Come to CoveyClub.com, COVEY, that's the word, club.com. And you want to join because you want to meet other women like you who are still interested and active in the world and are really getting, I won't say the word, done.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Leslie. I really appreciate you coming on. Yes, and I hope our audience found you both as informative and inspiring as I did. My name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the proud host of Our Voices here on 90.3 WHPC. Our show's creative director is Rudy J. Breedy. Visit nccradio.org. That's www.nccradio.org for more information. This will be available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcast, and Spreaker. Our Voices is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.